right, hello, friends. We are back with another episode of WESPN. Again, this is your local, hyper-focused real estate news network, WESPN, Windsor, Essex, Scott Paul News. And again, it is a real estate focus. And first, we want to get to our lovely, lovely sponsor. Got a special one this week. We got Razor Painting from the house of Justin Razorbeck. And let me tell you, I've known this guy my whole life, and this guy is absolutely dialed, not only on the talent side of residential painting, but also on the human side. He's just a great guy, and I can't mention his name without giving his beautiful wife Alex a shout out as well. Windsor just got him back a couple years ago, and we're lucky to have him. So on his side, all painting needs, full kitchen refinishing, transforming your old kitchen cabinetry, giving it a gorgeous new finish. We're talking tiling, backsplash, and grout work as well, tub surroundings, drywall repair work. Again, this guy's like a Swiss Army knife for us when we're preparing listings. And again, when we send him over, when we send anybody over, we're sending over people that we actually use ourselves. And the feedback with Justin and Razor Painting has been electric.
We know how hard it is to find good help in any environment. And I met Justin for the first time the other day, and you can just tell, great guy.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Loves what he does, is always going to give an honest opinion, and super, super trustworthy. So if you're looking to prep a listing or you're coming to market, give Justin a call at Razor Painting. Give us a call too if that's the case. And if you're just looking for some painting at your own place and you're not looking to sell, give the guy a call. I mean, he's honest to God, he's simply fantastic.
How about this, Paul? Give Justin a call. He does it all.
Give Justin a call. Razor Painting does it all.
I love it. Even better.
Shout out to Justin and Razor Painting. Really grateful to have you sponsor this episode. And again, if you need anything on that end, give him a shout. We'll have all his information in our show notes, and you will not be disappointed with Razor Painting. So moving on, let's go. Let's go a little bit Lions talk here before we get into the core of the real estate of WSPN. Lions hot right now.
Really hot. One of the hotter teams in the league.
The hottest.
Yeah.
So hot.
Yeah.
So
now,
hot.
I'm faced with a conundrum right now because I've got a football pool where you got to pick each winner every week, and my heart's telling me Lions. My brain is telling me San Francisco's going to win at home. Heavy favorites, relatively heavy. Paul, what are your thoughts on that? What do you do in this situation? Got a lot of money on the line on this one. So,
how much?
$100.
Oh,
so it's a lot to me.
It's make
it's a
or
lot
break,
to me.
baby. It's make or break time. You know what? Tough to go to the West Coast. I just think that the Lions have it right now. We got to experience Ford Field last year. You went with your dad. How was that?
It was unbelievable. The environment was amazing. Electric. Yeah. People standing the whole game. It was awesome. Yeah.
I took Trish last week. 2 weeks ago, I took the boys. Tim flew in from Nashville. Shout out to Tim. We came with Voy and Broderick, and boy, do we have a time.
You don't say.
Had to take. Wanted to take Trish last week. She tends to keep the boy between the lines a little bit better, and we're not punching out any windshields. So that was fantastic. But electric atmosphere, not going to be easy going to the West Coast, and with all that, the flights, the time difference, all that, never easy for any NFL team to go over there. I just think that the Lions have it right now, and I think they're not only going to cover that game, but I think they're going to win it. I feel like it's written.
Did you see Dan Campbell's speech after the last one? It fired me up. I'm not even on the team.
Yeah, I will run through the glass walls of my office for that guy.
So, final score prediction.
100%. Oof, wow, that's on the spot right there. Final score prediction is going to be Lions 24 and the San Francisco 49ers in a tight one, 22 for some reason.
Okay. I'm going with 24-21. You're going to want to kick me off the team, but I'm going 24-21 San Francisco.
We're going to keep you because you produce, but you know what?
If the production slows, I'm gone.
Consider it done.
All right.
Not a bad score prediction. I do think it's going to be right around their 20 mark, but again, I don't know what's going on.
They're good enough to win. I'll say that for sure.
It's it is what it is, But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Wow, interest rates halted.
Interest rate halted. Is that what that news break was?
Yeah, that was breaking news right there.
Breaking news. What a
Hot
what a
off
team
the
we
press.
have here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so
No
was that
surprise?
the pause?
No
I'm
surprise?
not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm just looking over the news right now, kind of a breakdown of what Tiff said.
Yep.
And it looks like he's kind of what's considered a dovish tone here, which means that they're kind of calling for this being the end of interest rate hikes, and it actually seems like the tone is kind of leading us into potential rate cuts. That is surprising to me. I thought they were going to be a lot more hawkish, or a lot more kind of like, hey, don't get too comfortable right now. Inflation is not defeated. Rate hikes are still on the table, but that doesn't seem to be the tone of this breaking news here. So that surprises me. Any thoughts on this? What impact we might see in the market?
You would have expected him to hold the cards a little bit closer to the chest.
That's
on that
exactly
one.
it. Yeah.
But it seems like he's coming out and saying flat out, listen, these things, the rates are going to come down.
Yeah, it sounds like the tone has shifted to are we too high right now? That seems to be the conversation at the Bank of Canada. Whereas before it's are we high enough? Now it's are we too high? So that's the beginning, right? I don't anticipate rate cuts in the next 1, 2, 3 months. I think this is more of a 6 to 9 month thing as we let inflation make sure inflation's stomped out, right? You don't want it to come back because you cut too early. So, but it does seem to be setting the table. I personally don't think that they have a choice but to cut rates. I'm not saying when, but eventually, because we have a significant mortgage cliff coming up with a significant percentage, like 30% of mortgage owners right now, in the next 2 years coming up for renewal. And I just don't think the economy can support that. So,
Yeah, and I think if rates come down, we should see more activity in the market. Again, we're not in the business of making predictions, but if the market still, I feel this was the first week where that train is kind of going. It was a slow start. It was
Very slow.
It was
Slower
a
than
slow
expected,
start.
yeah.
Slower than expected. And I think that was weather related too, right? Weather plays a huge factor in our market. It was like minus 30 out.
yeah, the psychology of people is a little bit down. You don't see any sun. It's freezing cold. Who wants to go look at houses in that environment?
Yeah.
I don't even want to. I'm a real estate
You're a
agent.
realtor. Come on.
So yeah, the sentiment there is, but the first 3 weeks were way slower than I thought, slower than historically speaking. But you're right. We're only on Wednesday today, but the first 3 days of this week have been like double, triple the activity in terms
I
of
agree.
sales off of a small base. Keep in mind, right? Like 5 sales a day to 15, which is still quite the improvement. I anticipate even more so coming into February. And what really happens when interest rates are cut, now, if I go to the bank for a pre-approval, instead of qualifying me at the current prime plus 2%, right, with the stress test, now it's instead of the 7.5%, 8%, maybe now it's 7% or 6.5%. So my budget goes up, my affordability goes up, and my payments come down.
Yeah.
So it allows people to get into the market. What's happening right now is I have some clients that say their budget's 400 or 500K. Well, what they can get for 400 to 500K doesn't match what they want. It just doesn't. And even though they make great money, they're just not getting approved because the stress test is so darn high right now, and it went up so quickly. So I think we're going to see affordability improve, which is going to get people back into the market. Again, this isn't some sort of fear mongering. It's just what's likely to happen. There is a direct correlation between interest rates and asset prices like real estate. So we shouldn't be surprised if that happens.
The biggest the biggest thing when interest rates come down is that the buying power goes up, right? And when the buying power goes up, obviously that results in real estate prices
Big time.
going up.
And sentiment as well. We're already seeing a bottoming out of negative sentiment, right? We've kind of reached like a neutral ground where at least we have some sort of stability. Prior to this, inflation was running at 7-8%. Rates were jumping up a quarter or half point every time they announce. How can you make decisions in that environment where there's so much uncertainty? Now we've found like some sort of stability where people can actually start to poke around a little bit. That's why we saw a property this week in Windsor, 70 showings. I've got one up right now with 26 showings in 10 days. The showings are out there. The people are out there. Now we've got some solid ground to maybe start to build off of. Again, not fear mongering, but just trying to get ahead of what might be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, I expect it to be a healthy spring summer market. And the buyers are starting to come out right now. all my listings, the showings have increased. Anything that I've presented to market in the past 2 weeks, I'm satisfied with the number of showings, and that, again, I just feel like that train is, the engine's slowly starting to go. Interest rate halt also creates a little bit more buyer confidence. The news
100%.
cycle creates a little bit more buyer confidence. We said this last episode that when there's stability in the rates, the buyers just have a little bit more confidence, and the news cycle changes. And the news story now is, well, what's going to happen when they come down? You better get in the market now. You better do this. You better do that. Again, we're not going to get into all that, but the confidence and the news cycle is starting to change out there. Whereas before, Scott, it was, well, you're crazy to buy a house, and people. When everybody starts buying houses, then everybody wants to buy a house. When everybody stops buying houses, well, then everybody else stops buying a house. You should actually probably do the opposite.
And that's the same with the stock market or anything else, really, in reality, or a Louis Vuitton bag, right, or whatever the case is. That's just the way people are. But you're right about the freight train starting up, whereas before we were coming to a slower and slower halt. Let's say October, November, December, we could feel it decelerating and coming to a complete stop around Christmas. Now it's kind of the opposite, which is a slow, steady acceleration, hopefully, and then this news might add some fuel to the fire there. So, yeah, that's a quick market update.
Honestly, I feel, just to touch on that real quick, and I've said it time and time again, I feel real estate is on sale right now, and it doesn't come on sale very often. So,
very good point. Yeah,
keep in mind, long term, real estate's still undefeated.
Real estate's undefeated, especially when you have a supply-demand imbalance, which I think everybody agrees to, even the governments that don't want to admit that we have a severe shortage of single-family detached homes and rentals and everything else. So, I think you're spot on with that. And if interest rates have peaked, I'm going to say it again, I think that the prices, we're circling the bottom. If we don't see any more rate hikes, this is around the bottom. I don't know exactly when.
Yep.
Could be 3 months, 6 months, could be next week, but we're probably close.
And our listing appointments right now, they're half educational, right? It's sitting down, going through all of these graphs, going through all of these stats, showing the sellers where the market's gone, what happened in the whole past year, and really explaining to them what is actually happening out there, okay? And that's been, on my end, has been so rewarding being able to do that, because it's education, and that's all we're here to do for our buyers and sellers. And the whole point of this show is to make sure that people are educated and they know exactly what's going on out there. Don't rush out and start, buying everything that you see because rates are going up. Live in your comfort zone. Contact a professional, get their advice, and really have them explain what is going on out there, because it's tough to navigate. It was tough to navigate in 2021 when things were absolutely insane and there was 50 offers and this, that, the other. It's just as tough to navigate right now because there's so much noise, right? We could put the earmuffs on and really dial it in for you and explain it to you how it makes sense to you.
Love that. I think a lot of people are struggling to make decisions. Should I stay? Should I move? Should I sell and rent? Whatever the case is, because the information is so scattered and incomplete. But sitting down with a professional that can explain to you basically all the information, that gives you the power to make the right choice for you and or your family. So, love the way you put that.
And we operate off of their choices, which is I don't know. It's very rewarding to be able to do that.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there's a little market update there for you. Anything else market-wise that they want to touch on?
Well, there is some stuff happening around the city. There's some buzz. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it, but the big news is upzoning right now, not only in Windsor, but all across Ontario. Many other municipalities have agreed to upzone as part of the Housing Accelerator Fund, which is a federal program to incentivize municipalities to upzone and get more units built. Many other municipalities have agreed to upzone any single-family lot or any lot across the city to up to 4 units.
So break that down for the listener.
Let's say a single-family area like Tecumseh, right? There's not a lot of multifamilies there. We might be entering a time where somebody next to you in your subdivision is tearing down their house and building a fourplex, and every other house on the street is a single-family home. In the past, that would never happen. The town would never approve it. It has to stick within the parameters of the neighborhood. You got to build what else is around you. Otherwise, the neighbors will get pissed off and all that. So that is changing. It's already changed to allow 3 units. Okay, so that's done. If you want to go buy a lot, as long as you have the lot size, you can build 3 units on any single family lot. The big debate now is whether or not to upzone to 4 units. So we had a big town hall meeting this week. Drew Dilkins and the rest of the members there were debating. And I think what the big hurdle is right now to get to 4 units, keep in mind, the municipality gets, I think there's $70 million of funding on the table here. So you're damn right the municipality wants to push for this. Other councils are pushing back and saying, hey, our systems aren't built for 4 units on every single family lot. The sewer system, the water system, water treatment, all that stuff that comes along with it, which a lot of people don't think about. So the back and forth was about that. And we are an old city. We have old sewer systems. We've already had issues in the past, so I can understand that pushback. I was, the counter to that is that, we don't know what the uptake's going to be. We also can't really study the system. It would take years to figure out the capacity and all that and cost millions of dollars. So that's the debate going back and forth. In my opinion, I think it's inevitable because of that carrot that's dangling of $70 million to the municipality of Windsor in particular. I think it's only a matter of time before they succumb. So that is pretty big news. It can impact things in a number of ways.
Do you have any clients, or have you had any experiences of people building triplexes on infill residential lots?
I've done it myself prior to this, right? Those were zoned for duplexes. But I have built multifamily. I do have 2 clients right now that just bought. One was a vacant lot. One was a lot with a house on it, but it was a double lot in Tecumseh. So the plan there is to sever the lot, build 3 units on each lot. Okay. Now that's interesting because it's a single family neighborhood. I'm sure the neighbors aren't going to be happy, but it's not up to us to make the rules. It's up to us to adapt to them and try to take advantage of them if you can. So that is happening, and we are kind of waiting to see if this 4-unit upzoning does happen. So we're kind of like pausing, right? Is it going to go through? Is it going to not? Because then you could theoretically get 4 units on each lot. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that aren't happy about this. My advice to people in general, I'm not going to debate whether or not you're happy with it. I wouldn't be happy either if I lived in a single family neighborhood. Sure. I'd be upset. But if you can't fight it, if you can't fight them, join them. Try to take advantage of it. If you're sitting on a double lot, if you have space in the backyard, if you want to get some rental income and build extra units, look to take advantage of this because this is a rare opportunity to potentially make some money. I think it's going to increase, sorry to cut you off, it's going to increase the value of land as well.
Actually, I cut you off.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like I always do.
Thanks for your honesty. But it's going to increase the value of land, right? I don't think it's going to really help the housing crisis if you want to own a house. If you're the next generation that can't afford to buy, these are all going to be rental units.
So I'm a client that's in the infant stages of wanting to do this. How do you guide them? Like, what's my process there? Would you start and maybe try and find something that you could take down, or are you looking for residential vacant lots, or both?
Yeah. Well, I think the sweet spot now is a single family home that's maybe dilapidated and not, because you're probably going to tear it down anyway, sitting on a double lot. And a double lot is different in different parts of the city. Some lots you need 40 feet of frontage, some 35, some 30, some 60. So not everything, you have a 100-foot lot in one area, it might not actually be a double lot, depending on all that. So that would be kind of the sweet spot. Also, but I think if you do own a rental, let's say you own a rental property now and you could add, let's say it's just rented as a single family home, you could add a basement apartment and a rear detached ADU, your ROI is probably going to be the highest there because you already own the land, you've already invested in it, and you're just adding rental income.
And I got to tell you, we listed for lease in our office an ADU unit. Katrina had it, right? Katrina, you had it? You had it? Right?
Yeah, and, I remember that one, yeah.
And people were going nuts for it, at least within a week, and there was multiple people who wanted to see it.
Do you remember the price point on that?
What was the price on that? What it leased for?
Okay, come on the episode.
Yeah, get on in here. We don't know.
Yeah,
we'll put in the show notes what that leased for. And people were going nuts. Now, the biggest problem with the ADUs that I found out is that the banks won't finance them because they treat it as a garage.
They won't finance them yet.
Right.
We do anticipate a time when they will. I do have a client that did get financing from not one of the big banks, but one of the local credit unions. And they did value the 3 units, right? So they're building from scratch, single family home, ADU, detached ADU. So 3 units. And they did value it way higher than as if it was 1 unit, at least 300 grand higher. So maybe not the big banks yet, but eventually they probably will hop on board. Just definitely not there yet. But what I find interesting about those ADUs, number one, if they're like the detached units, a lot of people, it feels like a house now. It's detached.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not sharing space with anybody else. You're not in like a basement. And number two, it ends up oftentimes being in the sweet spot for price. $1,500, $1,600 rent is pretty hard to find now, especially for something new, detached.
And they're nice.
Yeah, they're nice. They are, right? Because you've got all the things people want: the new kitchens, spacious layouts, open concept. Most of the rental inventory in our city is 80 years old, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. So to bring on that new inventory, you're automatically setting yourself apart. So there's many ways to play this. If you're sitting on land, I think that's a great opportunity.
And there are builders that that will like guide you on all of this. They'll get the permits for you. They know how to construct these. They'll guide you through that whole process. And again, I think people always think it's a lot harder and overwhelming than it actually is. So if you ever want to hop on a discovery call, give Scott a call. And
we partnered with the Essex Home Building Company and Dan Crofts. He built multiple properties for me before this was a thing, before they changed all this zoning. He's been doing this for 3, 4, 5 years, adding units and all this stuff. So he really is an expert, and he's the kind, he takes care of everything. You're not dealing with the town, the city. You're not dealing with permits. It's literally, this is what I want done. Here's the price. Here's your return on investment, and let me go to work. So he would be the guy to talk to. But yeah, reach out to us if you're interested, and we'll get all those important meetings set up.
Yeah, all these things that are in the pipeline are getting really creative for investors, and it just opens up
full HST rebate when you build 5+ units, up to 95% financing. Imagine owning a $1 million investment property for $50,000, right? Controlling it. And then you get better financing rates as well through the government program. So it's it's crazy. So a couple of years ago, I was saying, hey, this housing crisis isn't going to be fixed because the government's not doing anything. They finally are. If you're an investor-minded person, like, this is a train that you want to hop on, because the low-hanging fruit's going to go away pretty soon, in my opinion. So long-winded way to say that, hey, there's some opportunities out there.
Absolutely, 100%. Housing Accelerator Fund.
Yeah, so that's what it is. That's the federal program here. So again, the $70 million carrot being dangled in front of the city of Windsor is, hey, you upzone to 4 units, $70 million of funding
right.
coming your way, right? So, good luck trying to pass that.
What's the consensus on City Council right now? Do you know?
From what I understand, it's very close. I actually think more people are in favor of it. I think a couple people hindered it from going through. I thought it was like 6-2 vote. I have to double check that, in favor of upzoning, but a couple people held it back. So then they went back to the table to debate it again. So it seems like it's close. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Many other municipalities have already hopped on board. Money talks, and to be fair, we've got to get units built quickly, and this is the only way to do it, folks. Nobody's going to build these units if it's not for these incentives. Trust me, I'm running the numbers on them all the time. If it wasn't for these incentives, we're not building any of them.
Yeah,
the numbers are too thin. They don't work. These are what makes it viable.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Great points, sir. Great points. Canadian visa requirements. What are we going to talk about on this one? My God.
Oh, big news. I mean, there's people are in uproar. It's been happening for years. A lot of us knew this was happening. Just the number of students coming into the country was just unsustainable. I think 800,000 student visas were issued last year. And just imagine the impact that has on many local areas, right? They're all concentrated typically around universities as well. So you have an unsustainable influx of people. And then oftentimes those students could bring their spouses over to work. So it was just this system that was completely broken. So they finally came out, they announced that they're going to reduce visa applications for the next 2 years by 30%, and then divvy up the distribution of people coming here based on the population of each province. So a couple things of note to me: it doesn't impact the students that are already here, right? It just slows the flow coming in.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things that might just be more impactful on the surface than it actually is in reality, because you've already got universities pushing back and saying, hey, you know what, we had all of our funding based on these students, now you're cutting them off. So it'll be interesting. It might impact the rental market a bit here as we have less students coming in, but much needed policy change here. Should have been done years ago. we don't have a problem with students coming here, but you better have an equal housing strategy, or this is the result.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well, friends, that's a quick one here this week. I hope you enjoyed this content and this show. If you liked what you saw here, just drop a comment below. If you want us to talk about something, again, comment below. Check out our show notes for anything that you need from this episode. And if you want to reach out and talk real estate at all, give us a call. We'd be more than grateful to assist you. Have a great day.
Go Lions.
Go Lions. Go Lions.